Dude, thank you so much for making time for us, Brian.
Chill.
No, truly, I'm so excited to sit down and talk.
Like we have been for the last 2 hours.
I'm so excited to start talking, dude.
Finally. It's like, fuck, we talked about everything.
Well, now we can sit here in silence.
Well, I mean, one thing I held off asking you about because I wanted to save it for the podcast was last time we really sat down and talked to you, you were just finishing school, and now you're done, man. You reached the finish line that everyone waits for so long, or not waits for, but strives towards. How did it feel when you finally graduated?
Did you walk?
No.
No.
Well, dude, that's the thing. My mom's kind of like on my case about figuring all that out, and I haven't really been on the grind to do that. And I got like a letter in the mail, like you made Dean's List, or you congratulate. I got my diploma too, and it just doesn't feel like I accomplished I mean, definitely accomplished something. Don't get me wrong, but I don't know, man. It doesn't feel like I really put myself into this whole college degree thing, so it doesn't feel like a real accomplishment. Like I see myself going after some pretty big goals at points, and that's what I'm striving towards. And I don't know, it just feels kind of like a hollow fucking
Victory.
victory. Yeah, I don't know.
I totally feel that, man, because to me it just feels like I'm chasing, like, I feel like going to school should be chasing intellect and like learning as you go, but to me it's just been like chasing the assignments, like the deadlines, just to reach that like piece of paper at the end, the diploma.
That's so true, man.
Yeah, it's like if I put all my efforts into school, which I definitely did not, but I came out okay, you know. Like a graduate with like cum laude or whatever the fuck you call it.
Whatever the fuck that
Yeah,
is.
it's like that's cool, but I don't know. I didn't really try in high school too, man. Like I didn't put all my efforts towards this, so I don't know. I'm not gonna. I'll take it and run with it, but I'm not trying to get caught up on it because it's not nearly as close as what I'm trying to accomplish. You know?
Dude, but I've seen both of us grow from high school, and we have changed so much for the better, man. Truly.
Yeah.
We were the kids in high school who were like, fuck books, dude. And now we built ourselves a little intellect.
Dude, do you know the masses that we used to go to and like how we used to like start USA chants and shit? And I was talking to Wayne the other day about how we'd be like get detention for being like, like mid-mass. So ridiculous. Dude.
Yeah, I always tell people that story that you told about the pastor that was like on the stage of the auditorium and he like stuck the pencil underneath. Yeah. One of the ladies I work with, she went to Cardinal Spellman, and I was like, oh, my roommate went there. I just immediately told her the story, and she was like, that's awesome.
Remember when we were onto the stage, dude?
Yeah.
That was so fun.
I know, pencils, dude. That was crazy. That time in the auditorium when we were crawling around and she like caught you, and then the teachers were coming around trying.
That lady who married Jesus.
Yeah.
She's legally married to Jesus. That's the fucking bullshit that Spellman brings in.
Oh.
Like, I'm married to an idea. Literally.
So what does that mean? She's just, for the rest of her life, she's committed to Christ?
I don't know. I wonder if she's got a wedding ring. I didn't look.
I don't know.
But we were army crawling around the whole thing to get onto the stage that she was talking in front of. And everyone made it. And then I like was crawling out like from behind, and then like so I was in the open, and it was like the most vulnerable point, and she just like looks over at me, and we just like make eye contact as I'm like army crawling on the ground, and like she just looks at me and like pauses for a second, and I just like scooch back, like I was like backtrack
Which is like the most obvious. You're just like, oh shit, you start going back.
She's probably like, what the actual fuck did I just see?
Dude, it's crazy how like tension rises when you know that you're being recorded and shit, you know? I feel like the conversation we were having before this was so smooth and fluid, and now it's like, I don't know, I feel like...
A little jerky.
It's weird, man.
Like, it feels like you have to fill the void with something. Like, you can't let a pause happen, even though there's nothing wrong with it.
Even questions to each other are, like, structured in, like, a more formal way. It's just like, I don't know.
We're still very new to this, though.
No, I'm not saying that you guys are, like, doing it wrong or whatever. I'm just feeling like, I don't know, just the fact that you can feel an audience is so strange.
Yeah, dude, it totally is. And you definitely get more used to it over time, because I remember when we first started, like
episode 0, man.
Yeah, episode oh god. Well, like even when we first started having guests on, it was just like all right, so like what do you think about it? And you not only were you asking the questions so pointed, but you're trying to be so concise in your response, and you're trying to make sure you don't slip up. And I feel like just that, like you watching yourself makes you slip up more.
Right. You're just too conscious of like everything
Exactly.
going on. You're like, all right, like I'm trying to sound smart. I'm trying to sound like, I don't know, like goofy at the same time. Like, yeah, it's just...
Like, how am I sitting? How am I deep? Am I speaking deeply? Am I using a large enough vocabulary? Yeah, fuck you, audience.
We're just doing our own thing, man. Leave us alone.
You're chilling. What do you guys plan on? What direction you guys want this podcast to kind of go in? Like, are you guys still experimenting with it? Or are you still trying to like?
We want to subvert the presidency and use this as our means of ruling the country.
I feel you. That's cool.
Yeah. We're
No,
trying
but-
to spread hate.
To me, this is an indefinite thing. This isn't like a college thing. This is something that will become a part of my life and yours as well.
That's cool, man.
Fucking, you roping me along, dude.
Yeah, I literally told him the other day. I was like, dude, you fucked up. He's like, wow. I was like, you are literally tied to me now. Like, you're not getting away, dude. Like, we're in this together.
Bad gas.
Please help me.
That's a cool name.
The bad part. I love it.
Hell yeah.
It's so good.
Yeah. I think you just came up with that randomly. You're like, oh, Brett and Drew, bad.
Yep. Dude, it's just like the cause of so many memes. Like, anything, just put bad in front of it, and it's like, it's fun. Like,
It's just fun to be able to sit down with your friends and, I don't know, shoot the shit for a little while.
Yeah.
like we were literally doing this before, this exact same thing, and now we clicked on the cameras and the mics, and people like love it.
Yeah.
What are you trying to like say? Like, what are your main points? Like, what are you trying to get across? Are you trying to
That's
get like,
such a good question.
are you
man.
trying to get like your personalities across? Are you trying to like spread a certain agenda? You know, like, I mean, that's a pretty like heavy question. So, my bad, but
No, I like what you're saying though. I think about that a lot, and I'm gonna stray a little bit here, but I think about that about
Drew, what do you think?
what, what do you think, Drew?
I'm just kidding.
I think about when I meet somebody new, what I'm trying to get at talking to them is like, what do you have to say? What is your message what is your spiel? Know what I'm saying? And it's hard to pinpoint your own spiel. I guess it's fuck all the bullshit. Love your friends.
Yeah, so it's
Like-
kind of like a platform for others to kind of
Yeah.
highlight their own things. That's
Yeah,
cool,
exactly, man.
That's really cool.
We have such a cool group of friends.
Dude, absolutely. That's the thing is we always end up having new and random people over here, and it's just so cool to get their perspective when we're talking to them. So to me, it's just like, why not record the conversation and allow other people, especially if the person wants to, because everyone we've talked to so far is so into it, and they're just like, yeah, dude, I'd love to be on the podcast. We always end up having fun doing it. So I don't really think we had a direction at first when we started it. And I still don't see like a solid direction in it. I don't see a solid like end point or a solid goal. But so far it's just been a lot of fun to make, and we don't really see a reason to stop doing it. So
Yeah, you shouldn't. That's cool. I feel like coming here, there's like a moment of like anxiety or like the fact that you have to be, I mean, on air, like
Yeah.
I know it's not like a Joe Rogan like thing, but it's even still like you kind of have to be wary of how you fucking put yourself out there, you know?
Do you know what I really like about it? Is that it like calls you out on your own shit. Because you say these dumb things and people are like, dude, what the fuck?
Right.
Or
Yeah.
like you just like if you don't I don't know, you don't shower or something, your hair's all messy, like something that you wouldn't even normally think about. Like suddenly it's on portrayal. Or even just
Yeah.
one thing that I've really been taking from it is speaking.
oh, absolutely.
Like all these little nuances that I use, not nuances, but placeholders for while I'm thinking. I say it so like, and you don't hear yourself say it until you hear yourself say it.
I don't know, last time I was like watch myself like my hand on the table and everything. Dude, what am I doing?
building the idea.
It's just that nervous reaction that when you're trying to get something across, you're like, okay, and you're trying to think it out, work it through. So I feel like you just involuntarily put those things in. But you're right, when you look at it afterwards, especially when you're editing and you listen to the whole thing over again, you catch yourself making these screw ups that most of these screw ups I don't think I'd make if I wasn't recording myself. It's just that nervous twitch of, oh shit, I'm on air. And now, like you said, I have to watch what I'm saying.
Yeah. And I think of Joe Rogan's podcast, which he said the other day it reaches more viewers per month than CNN does,
Wow.
which is wild, man. And going on air on that's intense.
Do you know something Jordan Peterson said that was really powerful that I never really thought of? So here we can say whatever we want. Like, nothing's gonna come of it, dude. Like, we could say the dumbest shit and people are just gonna think differently of us. But Jordan Peterson said that he was in a position, and still is, where literally everything is riding upon every word that comes out of his mouth. His family's financial stability, his credibility, his book sale, whatever it is, everything. Anything that comes out of his mouth on the air will be used against him. So he has to be so mindful of everything that he says. And you see it in the Kathy Newman debate, where he's like,
I'm very, very careful.
He's like, I did not say that. Like, he knows, he can backtrack. He knows exactly what.
When
he
you tell
said.
the truth, dude, it's easy to do that. You know, when you lie and shit, it's like you gotta keep track of everything you're doing. It's crazy.
Yeah.
It's what a crazy time to be alive, dude. Like podcasting and that call it, you know, that you guys are just ripping this, like social media, all this stuff is just so insane.
We're still getting a grasp on it.
Yeah, and I feel like it's hard to, like what Elon Musk is doing right now. It's hard to really grasp where the world's gonna go. So telling 18-year-old kids what to do with their life without even understanding themselves where the world's gonna be, it's like, how can you expect any of that to work? They're just gonna fall in place to something that they, I don't know, that seems fucking palpable. Is that a word?
Palpable?
I don't know, man. No one knows where the world's going to be heading in 20, 30 years, and especially with currency, you know, cryptocurrencies or government or international, like
Fed
geopolitics.
coin.
What?
Fed coin. Gov coin.
Is that a real thing?
That's like, Sean actually said that. He said that cryptocurrency, Bitcoin, was the government beta testing a new form of currency. And that eventually, once they get the hang of it, they're going to release their actual coin and all payments will be made in that. Like Gov coin or Fed coin or something like that.
Sometimes.
That makes a lot of sense. I could totally see them doing that.
Because they don't know who the real inventor of Bitcoin was. It's like Yashimoto or something, but that's just a name.
Yeah. That's just the name to the idea, but the idea can be spread through various means.
But going back to what you were saying about like doing this while we're in college, I feel like we're just catching the bleed off of people higher up in the cultural sphere. And we're really seeing a like cultural revolution, like almost, it sounds corny, but it's like a second renaissance. Like the art of conversation is coming back. Like everyone's like, oh, people, they have no attention span. But what's up? Like we're seeing 2-3 hours, like we will produce an 1.5 hour podcast and people watch it all the way through. People who you wouldn't expect. It's like, wow, like there's a little more merit to these things than people want to give them credit for.
Yeah, for sure.
Dude, one thing that you were saying earlier is how we voluntarily put ourselves in this position, and we have to, you know, watch what we say, and that's just like a sign of the changing times. But what do you think about the fact that we're also moving in a way that, even involuntarily, you're always being recorded, and you always kind of have to keep an eye on what you're doing and what you're saying? Because I mean, there's security cameras everywhere. Everyone has a camera and a microphone in their pocket. Like right now, we're being very cognizant of what we're saying because we know that we're recording this and we're going to put it out and broadcast it. But I feel like we're moving in that direction anyway, whether you want to do it or not. Everything is going to be recorded. Everything's going to, like, there's always going to be a log that you can look back on your actions. Like, what do you think about that?
And your porn history.
Porn
Oh,
history,
yeah.
everything, dude.
Like if this podcast ever went somewhere, people will be able to look back to the beginning and act like these are our beliefs in the future.
Right, yeah.
But you evolve over time. It's so weird, man.
I know, it's dangerous, dude. But then again, it's also cool that we're becoming so interconnected and these ideas are spreading around the world. Like I was talking to Sheldon the other day about this documentary called Winter on Fire. It's about the Ukrainian Revolution and how it's all filmed. Even on street level, at the front lines of it all, it's all filmed, you know? And it's exposed to the whole world. It's on Netflix. And it's like, that is a beautiful thing. Especially when it's used against a group or a governmental agency like the police that is in favor of security and filming you and getting you in trouble over that. And when you can do it to them, it's like, that's crazy. So in one sense, like, I don't like how high security undermines liberty, but in another way, you can use it as citizens to film your own government too. If the citizens are like mature or responsible with that, you know, or uphold those principles.
Yeah, no longer do we need the news stations to broadcast for us. We
true.
can link individual to individual. There's no middleman anymore.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, it's very quickly dropping off. I mean, people joke about it like Trump's like fake news thing, but it really is the case now where any like established news media program I don't think can entirely be trusted because they're always going to have a bias. I mean, don't get me wrong. There's gonna be some groups out there that are moving to the greater good, but I at this point don't trust anything that I'm not seeing directly from the source. You know, like I don't want to read some editor's opinion article on something that happened. I want to see it myself.
Well, it's impossible to hire like a team of people to document the truth all the time, who all have their own specific agendas or career interests, you know, under one agency. It is impossible. So I know what you're saying with like balancing your media through different agencies or whatever. But then again, there are like credible sources that are reliable, and like Vice News, you know. Vox is pretty cool too. That's a cool site. But CNN, I've heard they're like kind of a centralist group or whatever. But I don't know. They seem to be more left than anything.
I don't really trust anything I can watch on TV. I'll be real. Like, I try to get it all from online.
I honestly agree with you. I mean, it's not even necessary that I don't trust it, but I don't even pay for cable. So I'm not going to seek out the cable news programs, especially because I feel like they're dying. And I feel like when a company like that starts dying, they start doing desperate shit to try to get those views. Like, there's so much clickbait. There's so much clickbait out there, man.
Yeah.
It goes back to like how you're saying, you pointed out journalism, and we had that brief conversation earlier about the journalist John Krakauer, who wrote the article about something that turned out to be totally false later on. Dude, that's got to be so hard to put an article in a magazine and then to find out that you're wrong, and then to move forward and correct yourself in the public sphere.
Especially when it's like on an emotional basis, like he documented a death that he got wrong, and stuff like that is crazy.
Yeah.
But to do it with humility, it's like that's the point of it. Like truth, if you're trying to go for the truth and then eventually you realize that you weren't even close to it, like the integrity of that whole job is to have humility and go back to it and readdress like where you were wrong.
And the part that made it even better was that he was just talking to some guy that the story would never actually get out. He could have just left it as is.
Yeah, but he had the pursuit of truth.
Exactly, man.
Yeah, I know what you're saying. Yeah. It's intense.
Fucking truth, man.
And they write a book about it.
Yeah.
I tend to think that, you guys ever think about like the good? Like, what is the good? Is the good the truth? Like, I'm gonna get all philosophical on you fucks.
Yeah, fuck this.
I always think about like how the truth is a subcategory of the good. But there's such ethereal terms. But to put your life around the good, wouldn't you just live like that? Isn't that how you live a good life?
You need some
truth.
Ooh, I'm about to change the topic, but I have a funny thing that my teacher said in class today. Could an all-powerful God create a rock that he couldn't move?
I love this one. I've heard this one before.
They couldn't move?
Yeah.
What do you mean?
Like,
So,
go ahead.
could an all-powerful God create a rock so heavy that even he couldn't move it? Is that within his power as an all-powerful, all-knowing being?
Well, couldn't he move everything since he's all powerful?
But he's also
Right.
so all-powerful that he could create a rock so heavy that he hypothetically couldn't move it. But then he's also all-powerful, so he should be able to move absolutely anything.
It's just a little
It's kind of like
paradox.
the Grand Inquisitor. Have you ever seen that chapter? in
No.
No.
He's like, this kid's like, oh, everyone is able to reach salvation because a few suffered. It's like, if God was all powerful, why did he even allow a few to suffer? If he had the choice to do that, you know what I'm saying? Like, why did he even go that route? Why did he make this girl who's, I think they used like a girl who was trapped in the basement getting tortured and like raped and shit for whatever 20 plus years, and she had to endure that for everyone else to get salvation because that was part of God's plan. It's like, if he's all powerful, why why is that even on the agenda? What
Like, why did he put a snake in the garden to
Mm.
tempt him?
Very true.
Fucking God.
Or why did Adam and Eve have to eat of the tree of life in order to stay alive? Like, they were never inherently immortal. Like, he never told them that they were now mortal once they left the garden. It was just, you're not going to be able to eat from that anymore, so now you'll die.
Yeah. Dude, I don't know. It's one of those stories that, like, I never took it seriously because from a very young age, I just started being this, like, militant atheist, and I was like, fuck Adam and Eve. Like, I don't believe in that, which obviously, like, looking back at it now, of course, it's just a story that's meant to be taken for its message. But it's still a really weird one. Like, of all the origin stories I've heard, the Adam and Eve one is a real weird one. Don't know why. Can't place my finger on it, but I don't know. I'm not, like, a huge fan of that origin story.
What's your favorite one?
My favorite one, dude? There's an old Native American one where, like, it's like a turtle in the water. I can't remember. Yeah, they, like, the whole world is, like, on the turtle's back, and it just, like, grows out from there. I like that one a lot, dude. Just because, like, of course it has no more merit than the Adam and Eve story, but to me it seems like a more wholesome one than just, like, I told you not to do this, and now I have to punish you, and now you're all sinners. I don't know.
He's like, God's like, he goes for a walk with Adam, and he's like, Adam, where are you, this all-powerful God who should be able to see through bushes? And then Adam just, like, jumps out of the bushes, and he's like, I'm sorry, I was naked, so I hid from you. He's like, how did you know you're naked? Did you eat from that shit? He's like, she made me do it. Like, instantly just rats on the girl. And then she's like, oh, well, the snake made me do it. So she actually has a reason, because the snake is Satan. And he's just, no one made Adam do it. He's like, okay. Like,
Wow.
He's complacent.
What's up, guys?
that's it, man.
Oh.
Almost done with school. Very excited. Because to go back to that, how we were talking about school, how you said you're chasing the deadlines, which I really resonated with. Because it seems to me that I can never really delve into anything that we're learning because it's the next thing is right around the corner because the semester is going to be over and we have to cover all this material. There's no continuity to it. This whole new teacher every semester, this whole...
Dude, your best education comes pretty much outside of school because you can look up whatever you want. There's free lectures online. There are free articles online. You can dwell on them as long as you can. You're not... I mean, if you want to be graded or whatever, like, you need some other, like, external fucking reference to see how you're doing or whatever, I get that part of school, and I get that, like, you need to maintain a certain standard or whatever, but I don't know. We don't need school anymore, dude. And I'm thinking about graduate school, and I really want to pursue graduate school, but then parts of me are like, dude, what's higher education even? What's it even symbolize? What's it mean? Where's it going? In what field is it really, like, does it still have credibility? I don't know. Science, I think I'm lucky that I'm in the scientific field because luckily higher education in science is like, that's what we need, know? That's the direction that we should be going, or with fixing all these problems, like, globally. But I don't know, some other fields, like social sciences and stuff like that, I don't know. I don't know where the credibility of them are going.
Yeah, I think there just needs to be a better structure for learning because right now the only thing in my mind that a university is good for is it just qualifies you, like you can't get a job without the degree. So it really, the end game right now is just to get the degree, to get the piece of paper. It's just I don't know what the word I'm looking for is, but basically it gives you that qualification, the go ahead. But, like, you can get all the same lessons off the internet. You can read articles on your own. I feel like we need a crossroads. We need somewhere in the middle that you need to be able to pursue what you want to learn, but there still needs to be some, I don't know, not restriction, but there needs to be some way of maybe testing you to show that you've actually learned something.
Yeah, like a credential system.
Exactly.
Have you guys heard that thing Jordan Peterson's creating, his next one? It's going to be an online writing, not combative, but a competitive online writing game where there's a leaderboard and so you'll read, say, a paragraph of, like, Immanuel Kant, and then you have to sum it up. And you vote on, it'll show you, like, 3 different people's work, and you vote on which one summed it up the best. And as soon as that, like, competitive aspect is in there. It's like, oh, like, let's see how you really can perform. And then it's going to be right there in front of people. Like, it's going to be measured against other people. And in a way, I think that's a lot more real than university, of all of us writing a paper and then giving it to one guy and him, like, being swamped with them.
Yeah.
Opposed to all of us reading the papers and seeing who falls closest to the truth.
So you think that competitiveness intrinsically increases, like, the value of the education because people are pushing for it?
I think so. I think that there is... competitive is important, man.
Yeah, it's like the space race right now. Elon Musk
Yes.
he's like, they're like, how do you feel about being the only one? He's like, dude, it's shitty. I want other people to join and, like, compete. That's exciting. We need to, like, have this space race and bounce each other off, sharpen each other like stones, you know? That's where a relationship should be too. You should be able to, like, see, you should be intimidated by your girl or guy and be able to, like, bounce your personality off them and be, like, vulnerable to them. Like, competition is fucking cool, man. That's what it's all about.
Yeah.
Especially when handled well.
Absolutely. We need it. Like, that's why capitalism really does get a bad shtick. In a lot of ways, inequality is necessary.
I think so, yeah.
Because we can have a podcast and get listeners because not everybody wants to have a podcast.
Very true. But if everyone had one, it would be obviously a lot harder to get not even to get the views, but just to get the attention span of people.
Exactly. You
Because
can be good
there's-
at something because other people don't want to do that thing.
Right. It's
Exactly.
like, you can't really have perfect equality of outcome and freedom. Because you have the freedom to go whatever direction you want. And a lot of people will exceed if they have the freedom. And some people won't try as hard. Like, that's what freedom is. Like, you dictate where your future lies. And if you want to do that, then you're going to come out on top in some instances. And, you know, that's inequality, bro.
Yeah, dude, and I think you're right about Elon Musk being, like, a prime example of that, because not only with, like, SpaceX, but with the Tesla, he was just like, there's no competition in this market. No one has something like this, so I'm going to create it. And he blew it out of the water, dude. He created, so far, to me, what, like, compared to everything else we have, the perfect electric car. So he still has no competition in that.
What's the deal with that in space right now, by the way? The
He
thing-
shot one into space.
Yeah, it's just floating around in space.
Yeah, dude. It's in the thing he launched. It's
How
just a
heavy is
Tesla. Like
It's just a mock astronaut inside of it.
yeah.
Did he
That's
put it into
insane.
some place's orbit, or did I was under the impression that he's going to put it on Mars, but I think I'm wrong.
I think it's just in Earth's orbit right now.
Yeah.
That's
I
awesome.
don't know.
I saw like an
It's just littering.
like branded all over it. It's like made on Earth by humans,
Oh, wow.
and it was playing like the radio on the thing was like playing David Bowie.
Wow.
As it
Yeah.
launched into space.
Dude, that's so amazing.
He's such a troll, dude.
He really is. Did you see the flamethrower he made?
Yes.
Did you see that shit?
Yeah, if he sold him enough of them or something. Yeah, I saw that. It was like boring flamethrowers.
Yeah, the boring company. That's his company of he's digging holes. He's
Yeah.
digging holes under LA to make a
tunnel.
super highway.
Boring.
Dude, I saw a
Boring
thing that they couldn't sell them in certain states because you can't sell something called flamethrower, so they rebranded it not a flamethrower. I could sell it.
Such a troll, man. He's such a troll.
That's what we need, though. Those companies that have a personality.
Mm-hmm. Totally agreed, man. Because we're like, that's something we lack so heavy right now. Every company is just like, they want to be that perfectly politically correct, offend nobody, and just like divulge into utter seriousness. But now, like, you have a lot of companies that are just coming out and playing around with this thing, and they're just like they're kind of pushing their limits in a way and see like how far they can go, which is so cool to see.
And it humanizes them. So people feel like they can relate. Like how the Teslas play like the Christmas song when like the doors open and all the lights go on and everything like that.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's just little Easter eggs in them.
Yeah,
People love that shit.
that little fun aspect.
Like remember that Pepsi commercial?
Oh my god.
Like dude, it was so bad. It just seemed so forced that they were trying to cover all the bases. Like we need a white kid, we need a black kid, Asian kid, like someone in a wheelchair.
Did you ever? You
Like,
didn't
we
see
need-
this?
It was
No.
so bad, dude.
This was the what actress did they put in it? Like
It
famous.
was one of the
girl?
Kardashians, one of the young
Was
ones.
it Kylie Jenner?
I don't know the difference between them.
I think it was
Kylie and what's the other one? Kendra?
Kendall?
I think it was
Kendall?
Kylie Jenner, but they came out with an ad, and this was like in the heat of a lot of the like Black Lives Matter movement protests and a lot of the counter protests. So the commercial was basically like this big riot of like people pushing against these cops, and these cops are all in like SWAT uniforms and they have shields up, and you have like Kylie Jenner approach the front of the line and some dude like hands her a Pepsi, and she like breaks the line in very front, like there's probably like a foot between these like protesters and these cops, and she just like has 2 Pepsis, and I think she hands one to one of the cops and one to like the other dude, and everyone just like stops fighting, and they're just like, oh, I guess I'll take this moment to have a Pepsi together.
But
It
like
was
they're
so funny.
monetizing like all these movements right now, and it just reeked, and the internet got pissed and like went at Pepsi and at Kendall, I think you said, or no, what did you say?
Kylie, whoever the
Kyle,
fuck
yeah,
it
whatever
was.
that bitch is. And then Pepsi like issued a public apology to her and to everybody. It was just awesome.
Wow.
Funkadelic, man.
They're such like an over sexualized band.
Yeah.
They were like classical jazz musicians, and then they went to California for the acid years in like the 70s and came back as what they are.
I never listened to them much. I never delved into them.
Very psychedelic jazz.
Yeah, listen to them. Not like you, but I like them. They're a good band.
I have this distinct ability to go over the same things over and over. Like I don't often search for new music. I really don't. I have a library and I just dwell within that.
I usually find music randomly, and I'll like hold on to 1 or 2 songs, but I noticed that you're much more of an album listener. I really am. I'm trying to get into it though, because every time you put on a nice album, I really get into it, and I feel like it draws me more into each song, listening to them in that order that the artist put them in.
Because they're crafting it on like a grander scale of like, so you put the really crazy like pump up song like right next to the low quiet song.
What do you think in the last 2 years your favorite albums have been?
Like, have they come out in the
Any
past
genre?
years?
Yeah, or whether you discovered it in the last 2
Okay.
years or, but more recent albums, like an our generation's artist.
Dude, I really do love To Pimp a Butterfly.
Dude, that's one of my favorite.
I don't think
Just
that's in
gonna
the past 2
fucking
years.
say it, dude.
I was just about to say that. Dude, that album is.
Beautiful. Such a great message, man.
I heard that album was put into, I think it was Harvard's music collection that only has 2 or 3 other hip hop albums in it.
Wow.
Yeah, it was like
Oh,
Tribe
shit.
Called Quest, and then this woman Mary something, I forget her name, but dude, Pimp a Butterfly, that's gonna be a classic.
So beautifully crafted.
Yeah,
I'll never forget the first time I actually listened to it.
Mm.
Like, do you? It's actually like kind of a weird question, but do you still remember when you listened to that whole album from start to finish? Do you remember like everything about it?
Everything about it. Because you're really confronting those ideas that he's bringing about yourself.
Yeah.
Like he's talking about how he lost himself in drugs and alcohol and the party and woman, and then he like talks about crashing and like being able to not do it anymore, and then he goes home. He's like, well, I got it. What are you gonna do? Time to go home. And then like his mom's there like, shit don't change till you get up and wash your ass. And then he's like all pump up. He's like, I love myself.
Yeah.
yeah. Dude, what a beautiful album, man.
For real. I think I just walked into this kid's dorm. I was going to smoke with him freshman year. And he had just started it. And he was like, yo, listen to the new Kendrick album. Do you want to chill and listen? I was like, yeah, for sure. And I ended up staying for I was only going to stay for a couple songs and then dip. But I stayed for the whole thing because it just had me gripped from the very first song, dude.
Do you know who else has great... I don't listen to a lot of rap, so I can't really make this, but Chance the Rapper seems to have very good messages behind his
dude,
music as
I
well.
like Chance a lot. Yeah, and a lot of people are like, dude, Kendrick's shit was too political. It's too preachy. It's like, dude, I get it that like every time you listen to it, you might not want to be in that mood. Like, I'm into trap shit sometimes because it doesn't involve much thought, you know.
Yeah.
But Kendrick stuff, dude, to put it down completely because you're not in the mood for it all the time, it's like, I don't know, man. That's one of the most brilliant albums I've ever heard in my life. And to tell me that it's too political, it's like, that's exactly the mentality that he doesn't want.
So true. It's like the last song, what was he talking with Method Man? Where he was like, it's like an imaginary conversation
That was
between him.
Tupac.
Oh, it's him, between him and Tupac. Yeah, and it's
Mortal
like
Man.
Moral Man. And he's just talking about how he just picked himself up and got himself together, and then he became worth money in a couple years.
Yeah, dude.
I like the little interview they have at the end. Like just the way.
No, that's what I'm
finishes
talking
off.
about.
Yeah.
Yeah, such a nice ending.
Kids our age need to be inspired, dude. I don't know. Kendrick, like, even the Bernie thing, like, Bernie Sanders fucking motivated young kids and put a fire in the heart of young people, and I don't know, that says something. And Kendrick's the same way. Kendrick gets under your skin, and he gets you, like, riled up, and, like, even his newest album, he's just so raw and authentic and inspiring. And we need a lot more of that in our day and age. Life's really mundane.
Absolutely, man. Especially at this time, and like you said, at our age, because this is the time. Like we're fresh out of college. Our entire future is a question mark. We need to like take those risks now and really do what makes us happy, or do the right thing, really.
And
once
yeah,
you're
and it's
older-
up for each of us to kind of distinguish that for ourselves. And it's hard to go that way when your parents especially are people who are conservative and strict on a certain lifestyle. And when you bounce outside that, it almost feels like you're betraying them a little bit, because they're the ones kind of, I'm still dependent on my parents a lot, and they've been funding my whole life and kind of investing their time and effort obviously into me, and to kind of make a decision in my life at this age that blatantly contradicts what they want for me. It feels like a betrayal, but it also kind of, you gotta make your mom cry every once in a while.
Yep, it feels like that. It almost feels like you're giving a kid medicine that doesn't taste good. Like you're like, you don't realize it, but this will really be good for all of us in the grand scheme of things.
Yeah, and I want to kind of settle their nerves and be like, dude, whatever I decide to do and whatever I put my mind to, I want to succeed, and I want to go all out. Like, I'm an ambitious kid, and at this age, I'm very driven, and I want to get the ball rolling on some things that are some lifestyles that I want to live, and I don't know. I think it's resonating with them, because I do combat whenever they come at me and they're like, hey, we don't think you should be doing this, or like, I combat their arguments, and I think I'm a reasonable kid. I'll hear them out, and if I disagree with them, I'll say a point, and if they can't combat it back, like, it feels good to be like, dude, I just fucking outwitted my parents.
Yep.
Like, they can't say anything to me, but it's also like, I do try to give them a chance to organize their argument more.
Yeah.
I'm like,
Yeah.
I'll almost like go on their side too and be like, hey, like, you're probably thinking this somewhat,
You're
right?
playing
And-
devil's
yeah,
advocate against your own.
Right. And I'll go on their side and be like, yo, you're probably feeling this way, right? And they'll be like, yeah. And I'm like, so, and then I'll be like, well, this is how I kind of feel too. And I'll kind of make the whole conversation more complex in that way. But
Yeah, and it's valuable to actually give them that platform too, because they have so much more experience than us. Like it's actually profound how much more experience my parents and really everyone's parents have over them, because like they've been through everything that you're struggling with, or nearly everything. They've been through it, and they can offer you a way out or direction to go.
yeah, you're right. And I tell that all the time. I'm like, if you have financial advice, like, please send it my way. If you have any like advice, or you remember anything when you were 22, like, just throw it my way. I'll take it for sure. But it's kind of hard for my dad to go back in his 22-year-old self and kind of guide me along. Like, unfortunately, I have to seek a lot of advice from not unfortunately, but my dad and mom, they've been kind of conservative and quiet people, and they live a strict way of life. So most of the questions I have for them are like met with pretty simple answers. Just like, live this, like a safety, secure way of living, and I definitely established a foundation of my life in that, but I'm trying to take some risks.
Yeah. Do you think, or rather, do you know if your parents took risks like you're trying to take when they were younger?
I mean, I'm definitely overlooking a lot, yeah, for sure. And my mom wanted to pursue certain things, and my dad I think was kicked out of his house at like 16 years old.
Wow.
Shit.
And had to work at like a fishing or a shipyard or whatever. So they live tough lives. He's a hard guy, you know. He's a hardened guy, like a weathered man.
Yeah.
He's
Worked outside.
he's tough. He's like very stern. I grew up very stern too, like
Yep.
very like kind of militant, but like I don't know. I just don't want to live in that hardened shell anymore. I want to be
Yeah.
open and like let my heart out and work with kids my age who are equally passionate about certain things.
Hell yeah.
You know,
I very much agree, man.
some cool shit. We gotta work together.
Oops.
It's such a beautiful realization, like softening.
Yeah,
Like to that the real wisdom is in being like vulnerable in a way.
yeah, for sure.
Mm.
Yeah,
So I know, like you're saying, your dad's pretty strict. My dad was pretty strict too, because he was a statey. I don't know much about like how your parents. I mean, I know how your mom is, but like, was your dad much more of a strict dad, or was he kind of like the laid back guy?
He was strict, but in a moment, he was strict in like an idea basis of what he expected from us. But in a moment to moment basis, it was like he was actually more of the guy you could go to get what you wanted.
yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah, my dad was always like the boot camp drill sergeant. Like it was very like we had a very I don't know, Andrew and Julie and I were very routine, and everything was very much like dude, he if we were sleeping past like 9:30, he would come in and be like, you've already wasted half your day. And he'd get us all up. Like he just wants to get people moving and like get them riled up, which is kind of cool because definitely when I'm here on campus, I tend to float much more towards comfort versus doing what I know I should in the moment. So that is like, it's a cool perspective.
Now that you guys are approaching graduation, what do you think they expect from you? Like, do they expect you to hop right into a job? Have they even like said like, yo, like what do you think of doing? Like have they like hinted?
Yep,
And
absolutely.
Absolutely.
yeah, what do you think? Where do you think they want you to kind of go?
I think they ultimately want to see me in a job that would be fulfilling and successful in terms of money, but I think at first they just want to see dividend, like they just want to see numbers.
It's tough, dude.
Not only numbers, but like in terms of building a resume and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Like power jobs or something
Just conventional.
conventional, man. But I think that there is some wisdom to that just method of your father of like seeing so far into the future. He's like, I'm gonna have to like keep doing this shit. So it's like it's like simple wisdom of just like
It works,
preparing
man.
for the harvest. Like that's how you can like that is a guaranteed way to get through life.
Yeah.
Yeah, my dad's always kind of grabbed onto one job and held onto it as long as he could and like advanced through the ranks. I feel like that was a very good way to do it in the past, but I feel like it's changing so much now where like you're not expected to just start at one place and work there till you retire and that's been your company. Like I feel like there's a lot of like job jumping and like moving around to new positions nowadays.
Yeah, it's like much more liquid. Like you can just, because it's funny, there's not a lot of jobs where you really need a ton of prior experience in it. Like a lot of jobs you can just step in and they can teach you whatever it is that they need to teach you.
Yeah, that's why I don't think it's smart for me to sit down and figure out what I want to do with my career right now. Because the world's changing so quickly, dude. It's like, oh, it's so stressful to be 18 to 22 and having to like kind of aim like a scope at your retired age, you know? And
Yeah.
you're like, where do I want to be? It's like,
It's cool though at the same time. Like that's
it's
what we
cool.
can do
I'm
as
obsessed
animals.
with it, dude.
Yeah.
I'm absolutely obsessed with it. But there are other things to worry about too. Social skills and being engaged in like what's going on politically, or you know, or just continue reading, whatever the fuck it is. Just keep reading. I don't know. There are things that we should be focused on outside of like what job we're trying to get, and that's not pushed on us in school.
Like enjoying being incarnate as like a human, like this crazy ass experience, and you should enjoy it and truly be able to lay your head down at the end of it and be like, damn, like I did that shit.
Yeah.
Dude, very true. Like, people need to search for more fulfillment. I'm totally guilty of it too right now because I'm just looking for that paycheck that'll give me the most money. But, dude, if I settle into something like that at such a young age and just get trapped into that, there's no guarantee that I'll ever get out. So why not live kind of rambunctiously right now?
Yeah, and I tell my parents in a couple of years, 1 or 2 years, like I'm going to return to graduate school and like pursue something scientifically. But until then, like I don't know, man. I'm trying to figure myself out and pursue other personal interests. You know, it's just
Absolutely.
it's too much.
Yeah, I'm gonna grab some water. I'll
Cool.
be right
It
back.
oddly goes back to what you were saying with Bernie Sanders and Kendrick, which even goes back to the beginning of it, which is like, what do you have to say? Like those guys clearly had something very definitive and well put.
Yeah.
They know what they're saying and it resonates in people because they feel it so strongly.
And to express how you feel, like you need time to absorb how you feel.
Exactly.
that's
We're
kinda-
defining it.
Yeah, you need to like pick away at it and edge away at it. And this next year or two, like that's what I'm trying to do is figure out like what gets me like off, you know, like what ticks me, what inspires me, what needs to be done, and also just sit back and pursue like recreational shit. Like I'd love to spend like a few months just surfing as a beach bum or getting to mountain climbing, you know, like just stuff like that, because you might be able to find more meaning in that than your career. And that's important because you have a reference point now.
Dude, it's almost as if I have a super like strong sense of shame of like not becoming something or something like that I don't. It's like almost how like I don't sleep. Like I don't want to like sink into it. I can't like just sink into the pleasure. Like I'm always like worried about that. And I think it could very well be motivated by shame.
Yeah, it's motivated by fucking staying on my phone for 2 hours before bed. That's
Literally.
That's why I can't fall asleep, man. And also this trip coming up, man. That's
Dude, I'm so excited for you.
Thanks, man.
Just seeing pictures, I'm like, that's fucking beautiful country, dude.
Yeah. I don't know. It's just a week away.
So what are you at? I always call it Vietnam, but you're just doing Southeast Asia. It'd be closer.
Yeah. My buddy Daryl and I are flying out February 18th to Hanoi.
Damn, 10 days,
10
dude.
days, dude. A week from Sunday.
Oh my god.
Yeah. We're flying out. We have a layover in Qatar, and then we're going to Hanoi. And then from Hanoi, which is the capital of Vietnam, we're going to travel the northern parts of Vietnam and then take a train down south and get off along the way. Just check out the country, pick places as we go. We already have the first week of the trip kind of lined out, but most of the time we're just going to be staying in hostels and backpacking. And
That's so sick.
yeah. And then from there we're going to enter Cambodia and go up into Laos. And Laos is a small, thin, or it's a large, thin country, so you're just going to go right up to the north of it. And then, depending on what Daryl wants to do, this is on him. But I'd love to go into Myanmar and Burma.
No!
Yeah.
Scary shit, man.
Yeah, there's some shit going on in that country, but it's one of the, I don't know, Old Bagan City is incredibly beautiful, and I'd love to see that spot. So if I can, I might pull the trigger on it, but depending on what Daryl wants to do. And we're going to end the trip in Thailand.
Hell
in
yeah.
Bangkok.
That'll be sick.
Yeah.
Dude, I know that there's like, everything over there must be so cheap.
Yeah, it's pretty cheap.
You could just get massages across the whole way for like $3-4 a pop. Come home and just be like madly sober.
Yeah, the hostel that we looked into was $5 a night per
Wow.
person, or something like that. Yeah, a lot of times they're like $3 a night. A meal like chicken and rice you can get for like $1.50. Sometimes
God.
beer out there.
You're gonna live like a king. Everyone's like, be careful.
Dude,
you
the
know?
description to our hostel it said free beer nightly for guests. And I was like, what?
That's awesome. It's like nice craft beer.
Yeah, it's
Imported.
yeah, Goldschlag. No, I don't know. I don't know how it's gonna go. Cause same with Chris and I's trip. Like, we had a basic spine to the trip. We had like priority destinations, and we had all that type of stuff done. But day to day decisions, where to sleep, you know, that type of stuff was kind of pulled together last minute.
That's the real stressful shit.
And that's a stress that I want at this age. Like my mom couldn't really get that.
Yeah.
She had a hard time like understanding that.
You're like, you have a bed here every night.
Yeah. Dude, I've been
Guaranteed.
sleeping on the floor lately. That bed is terrible.
Really?
It's springy.
Good to
it's-
like even prepare too.
Yeah, right. Yeah, waking up at noon isn't too good though.
Nice plush like carpet.
Oh my god.
But you honestly, I worry that you'll go into that place and like it's just not a good spot. But I trust your decision making skills. So I have nothing to say but like do what's good. You know what you're gonna do. Like get the mission done, man.
Yeah, I appreciate it. I think as I get a little older, I'm becoming more of like a risk taker, and that's kind of scary because I don't know where it's gonna go. And like, I don't want to buy a motorcycle just because of that. Like, I don't trust
Lottery
myself.
tickets, man.
Crash tickets.
Well, like, little decisions. Like, my biggest fear is dragging Daryl into something, and you know,
yep.
something he doesn't really want to do completely, and boom, a fucking train hits him. Some stupid shit.
Landmine.
Yeah. I don't know.
That's a legitimate fear, though. Them shits are all over the place.
And that's another reason why I want to pursue kind of a recreational lifestyle in this next year or two, is to get that out of me a little bit, to take risks within reason, and to kind of like just find a purpose through personal, like minor personal crises every once in a while. Like that's some cool shit.
It's like you have to go through it, or else it's gonna like nag at you.
Very
Yeah.
true.
Yeah.
It could follow you forever if, like, you could always look back and just be like, damn, I should have fucking done that.
But then it could be addicting too. That feeling of constantly like
Literally that adrenaline.
a lot of my heroes, dude, are people who just couldn't get off that urge to like explore or like to push the limits of something. Like Elon Musk, he's one of my heroes, and I think he's addicted to his job. He probably is a lot less stable than we think. He comes off as like the superhero, but there's a lot of pressure on him to maintain his character, and a lot rides on him, you know, as not just an investor but as a character head towards that whole movement.
That's so true.
Yeah. I never thought of it that way.
And we don't give the fact, we don't give credit to the fact that they're human, and like they probably doubt themselves.
Yeah, that's what I thought about Kylie Jenner or Kendall Jenner or whatever the fuck. It was like that. Everyone shits on people like that, or Kanye, and you know, but these people are smart. They rose to the top in some form, and like they're not just dummy. I mean, Kylie, I don't know, because she was born into a family, so that's a little different. But I heard Dave Chappelle one time. One of his friends, Martin Lawrence, I think, went crazy in the street and had like a crazy reaction, like told everyone he was getting beat up or cops were going to kill him, and it was all filmed. And they were like, "Yo, what do you think of your friend doing this?" He's like, "A lot of people call him crazy." It's like, he's not crazy. That like calling him crazy is dismissive. It's not really getting to the point at all. Like, these people are smart. They're competitive people. They've risen to the top of the socioeconomic ladder somehow.
For some reason.
You know, for some reason, like they're intelligent people. So to shun them off as crazy in the set, and because of one thing, it's like you're missing the point. It's like, maybe I think he ends it with like, maybe the culture is crazy. Maybe the culture is making these people crazy.
I couldn't agree more. We have such a sick culture.
Yeah.
Everyone's
Very
so
egotistical.
disconnected and sad and depressed and worried about what everyone else thinks.
A lot of them like it too at the same time. Like, people, well, not like it, but they like chase that feeling. Like, it's like you and I were talking about the other day with like the type of music you listen to just when you're walking around. It, like, people invite sadness in if they want it. So it's kind of like not like a vicious circle, but it just like is self-devouring, I feel.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Because they feel worse, and then they want to listen to music that matches or exceeds what they want to feel, and then they go deeper. And
So it's important for us to listen to our parents and do our thing right now, but it's also important to
listen
tackle
to yourself.
Yeah, just like listen to your own heart. I don't know. That's a weird thing, dude.
It's hard to do.
That's a weird thing. Is like thinking that there's like, because listening to your own heart kind of implies there's a fate for you. And I don't know if it's a fate, or I don't believe in fate, but that's weird, man. That whole mental process is strange to me.
My mind thinks it's like a potential. Like, there's not a fate, but there's like a hazy image of what you could be. And like, as you move through life, you bring it into actual reality and like concretize it.
Yeah.
Is that a word? Concretize?
Can be.
You got what I'm saying.
See, I feel like your heart doesn't tell you what to do. Like, it doesn't tell you exactly what to chase, but it tells you what not to do.
Yeah, I think there's a feeling in all of us, like when we're lying, we really do understand. We can feel us lying in the back of our heads. Like, we know what's kind of morally right or wrong. the hardest part is acting on it. But do you think it's the same as like your career or anything like that? Like, do you think you feel what you're supposed to be doing or something like, and all it takes is acting upon it, and that's what's scary? Because I don't know. I've done a lot of soul searching, and I don't know if there's something out there that I'm supposed to do. I'm gonna open my heart out and live with like an open mentality, and hopefully that comes to me and I'll act on it. But as of right now, I don't think that's there, and I've been pretty honest with myself, you know.
I think that Drew's right, man. I think that it's it's not always very clear what to do, but it's very often the case that you know in your heart what you shouldn't do.
Yeah.
I feel like you felt that with Raytheon.
I really
and
did.
Look at how well that turned out for you. You listened to your heart, and I mean, it didn't give you a clear direction, but you were just like, this isn't for me. Like, I can't do. And I think you might have had like thoughts in the back of your head before you started, and dude, you listen to yourself, and I feel like you're in a much better spot now.
Like, that's a classical type job. It's like the gravy train. But like when you get into these new type jobs, it's very, I don't know, we're seeing work evolve. Like, it's very much more open environment. Like, that was just gravy train. Like, great benefits. Like, everyone just toes the line, doesn't say anything. Like, just gets the minimum that they have to do done. And I don't want that. Like, it was such a dull environment.
It's almost going to start becoming, like, I want my career to be in, like, multiple things. Like, I don't want to be, like, photographer. I want to, like, practice photography and make money off photography, but I don't want to be that, you know? Like, I want that to be a part of me. You know what I'm saying? Or, like, business or entrepreneurship or investments. Or just, like, anything, dude. Like, guiding people. I don't know.
I couldn't agree more, man.
That's where the career field is kind of going. You kind of have to be a jack of multiple trades.
Dude, we were just talking about this, yesterday?
Yep, Tuesday, I think.
The jack of all trades. I'd much rather be the jack of all trades than, like, the master craftsman that can make this one thing or can do this one job very well, but not much of anything else.
Yeah, especially socially, too. Being jack of all trades involves having social skills. Getting to know, getting to gain respect from, people on the high end of social life, and also, just everyday people.
Yeah.
That's a crazy skill.
Like being that public figure, in a way.
Yeah, and being a public figure that people look up to, but being able to relate to them, too. I don't know, like a genuine level. That's important.
Just having a connection to the good. Like, you don't... Because we can judge everybody else. But who is a better judge? Who can you be a better judge of than yourself? Like, no one else knows all those secret transgressions that, nobody found out about. But, we know. And we all feel it. And that's why I feel like... I struggle with myself, but, setting a code and then living to that code and not letting yourself disobey. Like, you can't, if you're in an argument with somebody else and they can make you feel like they can get it so that you know yourself that you did something wrong or that you did something loathsome, you've lost because you've betrayed yourself. You have to set yourself that code and live to it.
See, I don't think you've lost just yet, but I think you've lost if you just let it, you fight it in a way, you don't accept that you were wrong, and you kind of dig your heels in and just push back. I feel like that's when you've truly lost.
By your own meter, you're bad.
But then again, you also don't want to be a prisoner to the code that you set. You set this code for yourself, and you're like, I'm going to live by it. It's like, well, how authentic is this code? Where are the main influences of this code? You know, is this the type of person you're trying to be in a couple of years? Because this is serious. If you mold yourself for a couple of years with this code of yours, that's going to have some serious consequences, you know? So should you be so rigid in your way of life? Yeah, I think on some things, because discipline is important. But being open and spontaneous and while maintaining that kind of focus and level-headedness I think it's a kind of a cool balance. And when your friends can also kind of keep you hostage to that too. If you live by a code and you go outside it and they're like, yo, this isn't who you are. That's kind of what we were talking about earlier. Your friends, your closest friends who know you the most are kind of the hardest ones to grow apart from, because they see you for someone, obviously, and if you want to be influenced by this way and go that way, and you meet up, then you're gonna see it in their eyes. They're gonna probably even voice it to you like, yo, you're changing, or like, you never did this before, or whatever. And that's hard. That's hard to get over, especially when you know you're right. Like, you don't want to like not break up with them, but like distance your friendship by any means. But in order to bring yourselves closer, you have to distance yourselves, gain like an individualness to yourself, and then communicate that change in like a loving way, because in a supportive way. And if you do that, like that's how friendships grow.
Absolutely. And how you're saying that the code is going to have a serious, sorry, bringing it back right to where you started, but the code is going to have a serious effect on who you want to be. I think that to tie Drew's point into it, that it's easier to have the code of what you don't stand for than to say, this is what I stand for.
Yeah. I agree, dude. And
that's what really needs to be
at our age, we're figuring that out now. And that brings back to Uncle Mike thing. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely,
like,
man.
And
like, then on the other side of my family, there's like my grandpa's, the males before my grandpa, and they have such a strict moral code that, like, he told me a story that one time a bunch of guys from Maine came to the camp, and this is my Uncle John. He is the true, like, patriarch of the family. Like, God rest Uncle John. Like, everybody, he was just the true structure. And this one guy came, and the rumor was that he'd been a pedophile. And he went to walk in the camp with everyone else, and he stopped him. He's like, "You're not welcome here." And he's like, "What do you mean? Like, come on, just let me come in and have some beers." He's like, "No, like, you are not welcome here. Please leave." And like, just that strict code of like I don't stand for that, so I'm not going to associate myself with that. That's beautiful to me.
Yeah, you have to do that.
Like, this is nothing of that level, but recently I've been trying to stop wearing shoes in my room. It's like a very simple thing, but you don't know how hard it is, because when you're doing it, you're only betraying yourself. You're like,
two things I don't do in this life. And that's let
drink with pedophiles.
Drink with pedophiles and wear shoes in my room.
But it's like, no, like sometimes no one will be home, and like I'll have forgotten something, and I want to run into my room, and I'm like, no one's gonna know, like, but I know. And you're just in there, you're like, oh, I shouldn't be doing this. And it's mostly because, like, right now it's so salty out that I don't want to bring it into my room and have salt all over my, like, rug that I just got. But it's also very cool to, like, just have that one thing that you just, like, do.
I could just picture you doing that for like 5 years, and then somebody with shoes comes in your room, and you're just like,
like, get out! Like, just knock him out cold.
I have no idea why.
You never even get it out of your mouth because you're so busy trying to fucking run them out of the room.
Like, just like mud right across the car.
Into your fish tank.
Dude, I miss the fish tank, man. I love that thing. Keeping fish is very weird. It's like next level garden. It's like between a garden and having a pet. Because they're like lower level beings.
You're just keeping them prisoner. Oh man, I kind of want a fish tank.
You're just like walking around, just like balancing, like
Yep.
It's a lot of work, dude.
Dude, it is. It's so hard. That shit really made me realize how fucked we are for the oceans crashing.
Oh my God.
Do you know how hard? If you reach your hands in that shit too many times, everything starts dying. Like, you gotta be careful. Anything goes wrong and it just like crash. And the oceans were like just, oh shit, like these giant oil spills. Like, oops.
Whoa, fuck. Like trash heaps floating around. We're just like, we'll get to it.
And that's a good. We'll get to it once we create a little more. But that's why we should. Can you clean that up for us, buddy? You're good with that shit. But we almost should be, like Brian said, like taking the time at this age and at this time to go and see the blue and the green places, because they might all be dead soon.
Damn, that's a sad thought, but it's totally true. We don't know how much longer we have with. Oh, dude, this is totally off. I mean, it's not really off topic.
Bring us there.
Do you remember when Trump was running for office and he had to give his little, like, someone was asking him about his proposed plan for the environment, and his response was like, it was something crazy, but it was like, we'll keep some environment, but we can't let it disrupt business. Like we'll keep a little aspect of it, and people are just like, what do you mean we'll keep a little of the environment?
Well, I agree that like we shouldn't just go green like right now.
No.
I think,
It's a process, yeah.
dude, yeah, it's like it's irresponsible to just transition quickly like that. Like our whole economy is based off fossil fuels.
Yep.
Like that's the mechanism of, you know. So it takes small changes at first, which is terrifying because we're on the verge of like crisis. But once you get the ball rolling, I think it's getting the ball rolling. Like right now we're like solar panels and like
He's getting us there though. The car's like what, $30,000-$40,000? Like,
oh yeah,
that's well
Yeah.
within the grasp.
wasn't
of
it
a
the
normal
fastest like production car, the newest one or something?
think
It was,
so.
like,
I know
2
one of
point
them
something
is.
seconds to 60.
Dude, I'm sorry to cut you off, but one thing Sean said to me when he went through his like climate change denier phase, like he said it in the group chat, it was so funny because we were talking about transitioning to like full electric, and he was like, all right, cool, like the government will be by on Monday to come pick up your fossil fuel burning cars, like good luck buying new ones. And I was like, fuck, he's right. Like we can't just transition that. I mean, like I know that now, but I didn't before that. I was just like full transition now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he's just like, just like pops my bubble.
Yes.
Dude, Sean has a knack for that.
He does. He's good.
He's like the
Fuck
alpha
you,
troll.
Sean.
Oh,
Don't
he's
listen to
so-
them. Fuck you, Sean.
I hope he's does he watch every episode?
I don't know. I think so.
Let's just wait and see if he sees this. Sean, if you see this, let Brett know.
Text me, buddy. He'll be home soon enough. He's gone through the ringer, man.
He has.
The military.
Yeah, when? June?
I believe end of June, early July.
Sick.
5-year reunion, man.
Yeah, when is that? August or something?
I have no idea.
Yeah, I don't know anything about that.
I feel like it could come and go, and
It's
none
on
of
a
us would even
Facebook Spelling
realize.
group or what?
Yeah, are you going to go
must.
to yours?
What?
Are you going to go to your...
Yeah, of course. I want to see everybody. That's sick. I don't know, man.
Part of me
a
is
lot
like-
of people are like, oh, I don't want to see them. It's like, we grew up. These people are a part of your life, you know?
Absolutely.
I want to see everybody. I want to see, like, you can kind of go back into your grading, like, I mean, this is kind of a selfish, like, petty thing to do, I guess, but
Change the perception.
yeah, you can just, like, change. You can interact with people who you used to and then see how you changed based on all them, you know? Or just see, like, how you compare with, like, within that whole system again. I don't know.
Part of me falls on the other side. Where I'm like, why would I want to go see all those fucks? Like, thank God I hated you when I was in school with you. Why do I want to see you again? Like, if I talk to you right now, like, I care about you. Like, people know if they're in my life or not. And I feel like I carried the people who I truly cared about in high school out of high school.
Yeah,
I'm still in contact with them.
that's cool.
That's a good way to look at it.
Same here. I wish I maintained contact with more people because I feel like hitting people up now so late, being like, yo, like, we should grab a beer. To me, like, if someone reached out and asked me that, I don't know. I'd like to think that I wouldn't be weirded out. Like, that's cool. We haven't talked in a while, so this might be a little awkward at first, but it's cool that you reached out. That's weird. But if I were to reach out to people, I don't know how other people in our grade would feel about that.
Yeah, true. It would feel very awkward for me just being like, hey, man, it's been a while. Like, and I know you think I forgot about you.
Right?
Like, can I come have a beer with you and your kids?
Do you have beer for me?
Can I come over for a beer?
I'm flat broke.
Come on, man, I need something.
Have you ever had someone come up to you and like try to bum money for like one 40 ounce outside of, or any one single beer outside of? I've had it happen so many times. I'm like, dude,
No.
literally, like, I
couple.
couldn't imagine like squabbling for money for one like beer.
Kids come up to me sometimes at a party or something. They'll be like, "Can I give you $1 for a beer?" But not outside. Not like an old dude outside.
Yeah.
Yeah. I probably would though. Probably be like, "Yeah, sure." If they gave me money.
Yeah.
Dude, I had one guy come up to me in Bridgewater Center and he's like, "You guys want to do a good thing today?" And I was like, "I know where this is going." And he's like, "Why don't you help this old man with a little cash?" And I was like, "I ain't got anything, man." Like, if you're like you're literally asking for the money out of my pocket, like in such a like rude and
Why
like
don't you
You wanna do
entitled
the
way.
right thing.
Like I was like, no, I was just like, nope, I ain't got anything, man. It was just like, you gotta have a couth, man.
Come on, sell me.
Cuthbert.
Cuthbert, my religion teacher.
Cuthbert.
Shout out Christ Crew.
Christ Crew.
Yep.
Sounds like a fun squad.
Outreach.
Sounds like an absolute unit.
Yeah, right.
It's like a celebrity contest.
I did not make the cut, man. I was not God Squad material. Like, who the fuck is Brett?
Dude, at Catholic school, was there just like two main cliques, like the ones that believed in God and the ones that didn't? 'Cause that's how I envision it.
Dude, like 95% of the people either pretended they were pretty religious or they actually were. So, if you were like a vocal, like a person against it all, you just considered it like an asshole.
Yeah, true.
I feel like we developed a little group of like non-believers though. Like we were like a black hole in like the like whiteness that is Spellman, and we were just like sucking more people into it.
Very true.
Because I used to be militant back then. Like that's when I was like it is
just
my
pushed
job in this lifetime to make sure that nobody believes in God.
Dude, I used to be the same way, man.
Like r/atheism.
Like, dude, I read a whole Wikipedia article on atheism, man. I know what I'm talking about.
Where do you guys find yourself now?
I don't even have a label for it. It's like independent.
Left leaning.
On the left. No, dude. I don't know. I think I have my own like self like propelled religion, I guess. I don't know, which is stupid.
It makes sense.
I live by my own like I don't know, moral attitudes and like just everyday principles. What I want to like uphold every day, you know, or where I think life's going. I don't know. It's not really like I don't believe in like a man in the sky or anything like that.
Sky Daddy.
Sky Daddy. Yeah.
Or that he's got like a plan for you.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. But I also think like there's order to all this. There has to be some order to like the universe, like it's moving as like I don't know, for something. Like meaning is a whole different thing that I don't really think about too often. But as far as like everything spinning together in some way, or like gravity connecting certain things, it's almost like it's part of one bigger sphere that's moving. And that is where I lose it, because obviously,
yeah, you can't even perceive of that.
Yeah, how big the universe is that's insane, dude.
It goes in both ways,
That,
both directions, like small and large.
oh yeah, I know, it's like a fractal system.
Exactly.
I was just gonna say, dude.
And when
That's all I think about is when I look at fractals. I'm just seeing like the order and repetition in the like amongst the chaos, because that's what it really is.
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
go on.
No.
Dude, I tend to think of
Just a
God as
human.
like, so existence is a wagon wheel, and like it's moving, it's spinning around, and to me God is like the center which all this movement is taking place. It's like the unmoved place. And I tend to think that like everybody has the same soul, like all living things, it's just one soul, and we're just these like perceptions just lock onto it, and it changes, and we like fool ourselves that we're this different thing from like like insect, but it's really the same thing, and we're just afforded whatever level of perception we need to get the job done in that body.
Yeah, it's like we're flesh organs we're the universe in the form of a flesh organ that's been successful so far in like reproducing or whatever, and the universe is using itself through us to figure itself out, you know.
It's amazing.
To organize itself.
In one of Kurt Vonnegut's book, this guy's like keeps asking, he's like, what's the meaning of life, what's the meaning of life? And this guy just says to him, he's like, to be the eyes and the ears of the universe. Like, what else you looking for? Like, just live. Like, shut up.
Just live.
Stop asking the question.
Yeah.
I think that's a good place to end off.
I think so, man.
Stop asking the question.
Stop asking the question. Why should I stop
Beautiful.
asking the question?
Right. Been a pleasure having
Brother
you.
man.
Appreciate it, guys.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us. The Brian Barry Show. We're gonna co-release this.
It could still be the Bad Podcast.
Good, the bad.
Brian and Drew.
Brian and Drew, guys,
Right, thank you for being here.
I'm endlessly gracious. Grateful.
Beautiful. Peace out.